the planet, before I even put you on the earth, me and you already knew each other. I knew you, and before you were born, I had already sanctified you. In other words, I had already prepared you. I made you holy. I sanctified you. I had set you apart. And I ordained you as a prophet to the nations. What does this mean, guys? What does this mean? That the calling of God did not come from your daddy. It did not come from your grandma. It did not come from your mama. It did not come from your tío. It did not come from the pastor. God himself called you from a place of eternity that if God called me, nobody, no person can tell me who I'm not. You must understand that the calling of God is not a natural calling. It always comes from a position of eternity. He says, before I formed you, you were born. What does that mean? Before you were in this thing called time, before you were in this thing called earth, I had already knew you from a position of eternity. That means that your calling is not natural. It's supernatural. Your calling is not a natural thing. It's an eternal thing. What does this mean? That if it comes from eternity, then you may die, but the purpose will never die. The purpose inside of you is eternal. The purpose inside of you, you may die, but your responsibility is to instill that DNA and that purpose and that destiny into your generations. Therefore, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, because God, I was that Jeremiah who God called even before I was in my mother's womb, before I was born. I knew that I had been sanctified. I knew that I had been set apart because God called me from a position of eternity. The calling on my life is eternal. Therefore, if it is an eternal thing, then it's called to invade time. This is why prophets can prophesy and suddenly your life be accelerated.